ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः।
Dear friends, welcome back to the study of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4. We are now at the concluding part of the 4th chapter, and the remaining 4 shlokas are to be studied and read and understood. For that purpose, it is required that we follow the sequence of thought processes that has been developed by Sri Krishna in this 4th chapter. Firstly, Sri Krishna, in a very, very rational manner, raised a question in Arjuna's mind. In the 3rd chapter, Sri Krishna has spoken about the concept of karma yoga, converting the concept of work into worship. That's a long story. We have discussed it many a times. And he said in the beginning of the 4th chapter, Arjuna, don't get puzzled. Don't get suspicious, because I happen to be your cousin brother. And we are almost of the same age, if not a bit elder to you. You can develop this doubt in your mind. How is my cousin brother Krishna talking so tall? How could he? Krishna says, it is I who had taught the ideas of karma yoga to so and so and so, passed away in the history, maybe 1,000 years before. Arjuna listens and carefully understands, you and me, we are born together at this age. How come you claim yourself the teacher of Maruti and Aditya and etc., etc.? How could you? This is how Sri Krishna introduces the concept of incarnation of the divine. Avatara Vada. Vada is the theory, the principle, the philosophy of this concept that God is born as a human over and over and over again to help his children to find the way out of their miserable existence. This is how the 4th chapter starts. And it rotates around this idea that Sri Krishna is the incarnation of the divine, and he tells you that if you can study my life with a clear mind, unconfused thinking, you will slowly and slowly understand how God becomes a human to save his children from going wayward. That is how the sequence starts, and also the concept of yajna is in another manner the way to explain what is karma yoga is Yajna is a ritualistic word meaning ritualistic sacrifice. I earn my bread and all that I earn through my agricultural activity, dairy activity, orchard activity, and I generate these things for my well-being. Before I consume that myself, I offer to the compassionate divine by whose care or compassionate care I have been able to earn all that. Offering to God the hard labor of your life, which has now given you result. The tangible things are offered attitudinally, awareness of presence of compassionate guidance of the divine. That is how the word yajna has to be understood, because it is generally understood a religious, a ritualistic performance of ritual duties. Moving on from that, then he says that you have to exert yourself to understand by yourself, not rationally, but experiencing what I am telling you. That I am the divine, and your purpose of life is to merge your individual separateness and merge with my existence. You are a part and parcel of my existence. What you know as I am is nothing but God is. He has said all that in different manner. Then he says, Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Upadekshanti tad jnanam jnanina tattvadarshivi. This is the catch. To experience this state of oneness with the divine, you must be educated, you must be taught by a person who himself is a knower of the divine. And he will advise you correctly, properly, thoroughly, methodically. And if you could follow that, you will be able to arrive that state, the final state of oneness with the divine. What is that state? Jena ashesha bhutani, Jena asheshani bhutani, drakshasi atmani atha mai. That is the climax of spiritual achievement of a human. What is that achievement? You, by this dedicated, devoted, determined, disciplined following the rules of the game as enunciated to you by your Guru, doing it thoroughly, correctly, perfectly, excellently, with devotion, dedication, determination, and discipline. You will be able to remove the sense of separateness from your understanding, and you'll see yourself in the whole cosmos and the whole cosmos in you. And after achieving this experience, the final experience is with your wide open eyes, you see that figure of God, which is your Ishtadeva or Ishtadevi. You see that figure of God wherever your eyes fall. You will see me. That is the 35th shloka. The next following two shlokas, he gives a sort of a adoration of that state, with a little example, as fire burns out all the dirt and dross and makes into it an ash, and the real material remains. Similarly, knowledge of your true original nature will burn away your ignorance. So, there is nothing purifying, no better purifier than the knowledge or the experience of my true original self. We have studied up to that shloka number 38. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate. Iha, in this world of ours, full of do's and don'ts and rituals and this and this and this, in this world of ours, there is nothing as purifying as the knowledge of the answer to this question, who am I? What am I? Ko aham asmi. Ko aham asmi. Who am I? That knowledge will be available to you through all the procedures that has been mentioned, but the basic, necessary, indispensable precondition is you have to be established in performance of karma yoga. And what does it mean? There will not be a speck of space in you or an iota of time in you where you are not aware of the presence of God in you and outside. And this will happen to you, kalena atmani vidyanti. You will be able to experience that when you are yoga samsiddha, when you have mastered the art of karma yoga. You will qualify yourself to understand oneness with the universe, because karma yoga is nothing else but a process of saturating your whole personality with the awareness of presence of the divine. This much we have studied. Now the four concluding shlokas remain. Let us study shloka number 39, which is our subject matter today. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara sanjate indriya. This is the first line. Let us stop here. What does it say? Sanjata indriya tatpara Shraddhavan Purusha Jnanam Lavate. This is the paraphrase. What is it? That person qualifies and achieves thereafter, after qualifying for and achieving thereafter, Jnanam, knowledge. What are the necessary qualifications? What are the necessary preconditions that I or all of us, the students of the Bhagavad Gita, who sincerely and honestly would like to reach that goal, what have we to achieve as a precondition? 3 words: Shraddhavan, Tatpara, Samyatendriya. Let us concentrate on these 3 words, these 3 disciplines, which are an indispensable, necessary precondition for achieving that goal, oneness with the divine. So dear, it is extremely practical. We have to consider that thoroughly well so that it is easy enough to understand and put it into practice. Let us start with the word Shraddha. Shraddhavan means a man who is totally saturated with this word and its concept, Shraddha. I will translate it to you later on. Let me get the definition of it first. Shraddha in Sanskrit is a word which has been defined as Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Ativa Vishwasa Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Guru Vakyeshu. Whatever your Guru has told you, whatever the Vedanta philosophy preaches to you, Ativa, immeasurable, unlimited, reverence, faith, respect. Ativa Vishwasa, faith, reverence, respect. That attitude of your mind is Shraddha. We people, we have a weakness, a word and its dictionary meaning, and we say we know. But here, knowing with your brain is not your goal. Your goal is to experience it, and the end result of that experiencing is transformation of your egocentric personality into divine-centric, into the divine. That is the goal. So, rational conviction is required. It is indispensable. Without it, it cannot be done. Why? Because rock solid, crystal clear, rational conviction is the basis of unstoppable motivation. Never forget this psychology of a human mind. As soon as I am convinced, oh, this is where my end goal is, rationally, intellectually. As soon as the rational intellectual conviction becomes rock solid, unshakable, becomes absolutely crystal clear, no confusion, I am motivated to perform accordingly. Shraddhavan here means that goal of mine which is not known to me now. I have a vague imaginary idea what that goal is. A vague imaginary idea. Wherever there is a vagueness and imagination, there is a scope of doubt, suspicion and hesitancy. And wherever there is doubt, there is no motivation. Kartum akartum nava. I don't know what to do, what not to do. I am in a doubtful condition. So it takes away your motivation to go forward. So intellectually, Shraddhaban means a person who has unshakable faith in the goal which has been described to him by your Guru, to him by his Guru. And he is a student of Vedanta philosophy and he knows every word of it is. This world appears to be real. The world gives you full of promises, but neither it is real nor it can keep its promises. This is what the world is. I have rationally, concretely, tangibly, in a rock-solid manner, developed this intellectual conviction. It is crystal clear to me. The world promises, cannot keep. World appears to be real, it is unreal. I am going to find out what is the reality behind this apparent world. This is your intellectual conviction. Guru Vakyeshu, Vedanta Vakyeshu, Ativa. Ativa means incomparable, endless, limitless faith. Because I have not yet achieved that experience, so I must have my faith. I will achieve and I'll prove to myself it is true, it is real. Well, this is an intellectual conviction. Tatparaha. The second word. There are three words. He could have only said Shraddhavan, but he reinforces the word Shraddhavan with two more words. Tatpara Sanyata Indriya. What is Tatpara? Tatpara in English language is extremely efficient. Now, where does that efficiency come? Clear thinking and capacity to transform that thought process in daily activity. Efficient performance of duty without any blunder, without any hesitancy, without making a mess of my life. That is Tatparata. And how does that Tatparata help? Because your mind is in its proper place. That is why you are efficient. If you have no control on the movement of your mind, where from that efficiency will come? Therefore, with your Shraddha, you have to have the capacity of efficient, correct way of transforming your idea in modulating your day-to-day life's behavior pattern. That is why the scriptures pay such an amount of attention in proper behavior pattern. My life must be thorough, correct, perfect, absolutely in a routine-like basis, at a machine perfection. And lastly, Sanjata Indriya, your sense organs with which you interact with the world, they must be under restraint, under your control. Under your control. That is Samyamana Sanyataha Indriya. What does it mean? Samyak Rupena Yatna. That is, you have a total control on the movement of your five sense organs. But I know my five sense organs are involuntary. If my eyelids are open, if I am not blind, I will see, I can't stop seeing. If there is a sound and if I am not dead deaf, I will hear. If there is a fragrance or a bad odor, I will smell. I can't stop myself. So how can I control them? How can I control them? So, dear, people make a quick conclusion and make a mistake. They try to wrestle with their indriyas to stop going out. That is not the way. What is sanjamana? Restraint, control, not abolition, not annihilation, but to guide them in a particular direction. So that makes a little sense. So all my 5 sense organs, I train them from now onward to see the divine everywhere. To see the divine everywhere, to feel the presence of divine in every sound, to feel the presence of the divine in every fragrance, every taste, every touch. Don't dissociate yourself with the awareness of the presence of the divine in your life. That is restraining. That is controlling. So don't think trying to annihilate them, trying to abolish them, to blind yourself, to deafen yourself is not the procedure. The procedure is sanjamana, sanjataha, that is samyak rupena, in a particular total manner. What is that particular total manner? To be aware of the presence of God in all activities of your 5 sense organs. Awareness of presence of God. Cutting at the root of diversity, cutting at the root of separateness. To see one in diversity. That one is the divine. So Shraddhavan labhati jnanam. He will achieve that experience. How? By being Shraddhavan, by being Tatparaha, by being Sanjata Indriya. It's a hard work for us, so immediately God tells you what is waiting for you round the corner. Jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. Having attained that experience of oneness with the divine, you are in a sublime, unadulterated, divine bliss. Now, why this achirena word has been used? There's a little philosophical content behind it. Achirena means immediately, without any time lag. It happens now, the next moment, 2 moments later, it happens thereafter. No. It's the same thing. You look at it at ajnana nivritti, paramasukha prapti. It is the same thing looking at from 2 different perspectives. The question is, what happens to me in the process of ajnana nivritti? what happens is jnana wipes away the jnana. And you have saturated your personality to such an extent, there is no nook or corner where ignorance can remain. It is in totality saturated with the awareness of the divine. And this mukti has been described in two different words. Ajnana nivritti, paramasukha prapti. From this point of view, sadhaka's point of view, I am trying to get rid of the ignorance of my true original nature. What happens when I do it? What happens instantly, without any momentary change? That ajnana nivritti from sadhaka's point of view becomes paramasukha prapti from siddha's point of view. It is the same thing, obverse and reverse of the same coin. So dear, these three words and this shloka is extremely important for a performer who would like to transform his life with the divine. Shraddhavan labhati jnanam tatparaha sanjate indriya. Jnanam labdhva, having achieved with param shanti, paramashanti, achirena, without any momentary delay. It is the same thing. Adhigacchati. He, adhigacchati prapnoti. He bees and becomes one with God. The process of being and becoming is completed. So, dears, this shloka is very important to understand and to put into practice by honest, sincere people who would like to achieve that goal in this very life. Let us move on to the next one. Shloka number 40. To highlight this, the contrary condition, the opposite condition is being mentioned to you. This is a way of giving you a booster. Oh dear me, if I lose this, this is waiting for me. So, this shloka boosts up the utility and usefulness of the previous shloka. What does it say? Agyasya asradhyanasya sansayatma vinashyati nayam lokasti naparo na sukha sansaya atmana. Sansaya atmana. A person who is full of doubts. That is, a person who lacks in Shraddha. Doubt comes because you don't believe. You have no faith. Hastamalakabat. It is like a myrobalan fruit in your palm. You are absolutely sure it is there. Hastamalak. Amalak is amla. Myrobalan. You put it in your hand, you close it. Even if God comes and tells you don't have it there, you can tell him, sir, you're a busy man, you keep busy. I know it is here with me. My conviction is unshakable. That is my experience. He says, a person who is Agya. Agya here means one who refuses to listen, refuses to understand, therefore refuses to grow, and thereby closes his path of evolution totally. The process of being and becoming is under lock and key. Agya. Please kindly don't go by technical grammatical meaning. Agya means ignorant. I'm not interested. I am interested in explaining to ourselves what does it mean and how not to get involved in it. Agya here means a person who is being told 1,000 times. He refused to assimilate and to understand and to put it into practice. Why so? Because he is Shraddhavan, he is not Shraddhavan or Shraddha. Na Shraddha or Shraddha. He is not Shraddhavan. That is why he is always doubting, showing off his intellectual activity. But intellect is a double-edged sword. It can go this way, you can go that way. Therefore, ativa vishwasa, immeasurable faith in the teachings of Vedanta and the teachings of your Guru. Agyascha asradhanascha, sangsayatma vinashyati. A man full of doubts, he destroys his spiritual possibilities. Here, vinashyati means destroying his or her own spiritual possibilities. Nayam lokasti. He is neither here nor there. Nayam lokasti naparo. Neither here nor there. Sangsayatma na sukham sangsaya atmana. Vinashyati is in the previous sloka. Na sukham sangsaya atmana. A doubting Thomas, a doubting person is never at peace with himself. He is doubting everything, all the time. He is not in peace with himself. This shloka is only to boost up that there is no other way for us but to be Shraddhavan, but to be Tatparaha and Sanjatendriya. But Shraddhavan is a primary attitude. Let me read the shloka once again and move on to the last but one shloka. Agyasya asradhanascha sangsayatma vinashyati. He destroys willfully his immense capability of being one with God in this life. What could be more destructive than this? I am stopping my evolution of being and becoming one with God because of my ignorance, that is, refusal to learn and to listen and to put it into practice. So he is neither here nor there. His life is wasted into nothing. This is how this shloka is a booster to the previous shloka. Therefore, we have no option but to be Shraddhavan, to be Tatpara, to be Sanjata Indriya, because that is what my Guru or the incarnations or the Vedanta philosophy speaks of it. Let us move to the next. He is now concluding the chapter. This is the last but one shloka. What does he say here? Yoga sanyasta karmanam Jnana Sanschinna Sankshayam Atmavantam na karmani nivadnanti Dhananjaya. Hey Dhananjaya, Arjuna, our mouthpiece. Don't think Dhananjaya is somebody else. Dhananjaya is our representative, and through him, Sri Krishna is speaking to us. And why did he choose the word Dhananjaya, one name of Arjuna? Why? Dhananjaya means he who has, by the sweat of his brow and the prowess of his self, he has attained an enormous physical wealth. Wealthy. You speak this to be the wealth. What about this wealth, Arjuna? Pay attention to this wealth. This is the ultimate wealth. That is ephemeral, that is transitory. But this one, this wealth, if you achieve, you are free forever. So by contrast, you think, what is really the meaning of the wealth? I'm sorry. So, he says, na nibandhan karmani, na nibandhanti dhananjaya. Such a person is not bound down by the type of work, I would say ambition-oriented, result-oriented, goal-oriented, based on expectation from this world. I couldn't be any clearer than that. Karmani nanivadyanti dhananjaya. You have earned enough of wealth. Think of this type of wealth which you have no knowledge of yet, until and unless I tell you. What is he saying? You will not be bound down by the expectation-based, ambition-oriented, motivated, worldly activity. Remember these words one after the other. Expectation-based, ambitious, ambitious-oriented, motivated activity. That is what all activities of the world is. You have to be Atmavantam. You have to be absolutely saturated with the concept of your own true original nature. If you are that, you are alive in this world, you are working in this world, but your type of work has totally changed. You are no more ambition-oriented, motivated, based on expectation. You are seeing God everywhere and you are interacting with God. This is what it is. Atmavantam. You are totally, unshakably ensconced, situated on the awareness of the presence of the Divine in yourself, and because of that, you are aware, I am the Divine. With that attitude, you are no more bound in this world. This is the definition in another word of a realized soul, Jivana Mukta Purusha, who in his lifetime has achieved that goal, and this body exists because the prarabdha is not fully utilized. that remaining part, though he appears to be a human, but he is the divine. Now, how do you read that? This is the second line. The first line says how you can read that. See how beautifully it has been organized. The end result is being told to you. Immediately you'll ask, how do I reach there? Look into the first line. What does he say? Yoga sanyasya yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sangshinna sangsayam atmavantam. You will become atmavanta, you will become totally saturated with that awareness of presence of God, and I am Atma Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. You have achieved that experience. How do I achieve to be Atmavantam? Yoga Sanyasya Karmanam. By Karma Yoga, you have totally got rid of the attachment of the results of your activities. Attachment of the result of your activity. Yoga Satchin. The concept of sannyasa is being built up here to be developed in the next chapter, which is known as sannyasa yoga. Yoga sanyasya karmanam. All the worldly activities performed as a karma yogi, you have totally got rid of it. Totally rejected. And jnana sangshinna sangsayam. And with that awareness, there is no doubt anymore. As you do not doubt in your own existence, you will not doubt your existence as the spirit, the soul, the Atman. I am Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. That is the quantum of your experience. Hey Dhananjaya, karmani na nivadnanti. After that, if you are alive, this so-called worldly affair, you will live in this world, act in this world, behave with people, do everything. But you are always poised in the majesty, the excellence, the pure ecstatic joy of being one with God, your true original nature. This is what is the last but shloka says. Let me complete the chapter today and close it. The last shloka. Qvidi tasmat. Therefore, I am now concluding. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam richtham jnanasinaatmanah chitvaina sangsayam yogam atishta uttishta Bharata. Now he addresses him as Bharata. You belong to the clan of Maharaja Bharata, the founder of Bharatavarsha and an epitome of all worldly wisdom. That was Maharaja Bharat was. You belong to that clan, Arjuna. Don't forget your lineage. Don't forget your heritage. You belong to that group, not here. Baffling around what to do, what not to do. Why? Arjuna is in two minds. whether he will fight this warfare or he will get away from it. Under the garb of high-sounding philosophy, I don't want my kingdom. I don't want to kill my near and dear ones. The near and dear ones were epitome of evil. He forgets that. He is a Kshatriya, a defender of righteousness, removal of evil, establishment of righteousness. That is what he is. That is why the society has put him there. He has forgotten all that. Killing of his near and dear ones, who are representative of evil in the world, he even runs away from performance of his duties, and intellectual is a double-edged sword. He has found out all sorts of excuses of why not fighting a war. You get it in the previous chapters. So now Sri Krishna completes the fourth chapter known as Jnana Yoga, where Avatara Tattva has been established, and having established that, Sri Krishna, with his exposed nature now, with all the authority at his command as God incarnate, is advising all of us through our mouthpiece, Sri Arjuna. Therefore, tasmat ajnana samsbhutam ristham jnanashinam atmana sangsam chitva enam yogam atishta uttishta bharata. It's a little difficult. I'll paraphrase for you. He says that, look, Atma Sambhutam Ristham Ajnana Sambhutam. It is in my heart, in my understanding, what the seat of my ignorance of my true original nature is in me. With the sword, comparative symbolism, with the sword of knowledge, you destroy that ignorance which is very safely ensconced in your own heart. Get rid of it. Yogamatishta. Don't forget, the foundation is karma yoga. Uttishta. Now arise awake and stop not till the goal is reached. I won't detain you any further, dear. The next Sunday class, the Sunday discourse, I'll develop this shloka and complete the fourth chapter. And we will start on the fifth in an in-depth revising manner. And the idea would be, the direction would be, how to apply these words of wisdom in our day-to-day life, provided we want to reach that goal. Thank you, dears. Thank you ever so much. We meet again next Sunday to read carefully this last shloka, and then we close the chapter and move on to the fifth. Thank you, dears. Thank you.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri